I use a 400 watt strobe in the studio for pretty much every shoot. They're more powerful than a speed light. The battery powered ones mean that they're still somewhat portable and there are no cables to worry about. And we're spoilt for choice. The market is absolutely full of 400 watt lights. So when Neewer asked to send me their Q4 for review, I might have said no if it weren't for two peculiar features of this 400 watt light. First, it's the flash equivalent of a pancake lens. Don't get me wrong, it's still big and hefty, but it's flat, nothing else like it. That'd fit into a backpack, that would. And second, it's got a carrying handle, and that tells me exactly what the designers of this light were thinking. They wanted us to leave the studio and head out onto the road, so I did. I recently went on a trip back to the north of England and took this light with me for a portrait shoot in Yorkshire. I completely disassembled the Q4 for travel, including the bulb. It flat packs like it's from IKEA. I love that even the pivoting stand mount can be unscrewed. You could even replace it with something else, like a mini tripod, and use it as a table light. The Q4's modelling light is 30 watts, which isn't too bad for some light video work. We went out onto the Yorkshire moors with Jason, who's got a nimble F-type Jaguar and a Stig outfit to go with it. When I'm out on location, I'm generally using AD200s because they're small and light. But the Q4 is twice as powerful. It recycles half a second quicker at full power, and it has a native Bowens mount for your favourite modifiers. I'll tell you what it reminds me of. Do you know those Victorian photographers with the big cameras and igniting flash powder? It's just like that. You can handhold this powerful flash, meaning you could even leave the light stand at home if you wanted to. Now don't get me wrong, you can't hold this above your head all day without some serious prep work in the gym, but the 1920s paparazzi position might be making a comeback. Neewer also sent me their wireless trigger. It's got a layout that many strobe users will already be familiar with. You assign the flash and the trigger to the same channel and group, and you're off. Though strangely, you're limited to 128th power on the trigger, even though the Q4 can go down to 256th when using controls on the unit. Using a flash outdoors is really useful. Sometimes the sun isn't exactly where you want it to be and it casts weird shadows on your subject. Bring in a flash and you're back in control of where the shadows fall. You can also use the sun as a second light. Here I've got the Q4 on camera left, but it's a 2-light setup with the sun providing a rim light. Now, one thing that I found is that the Q4 didn't fire when the trigger was too close to the strobe, and that's the case when I'm hand holding it. Neewer know about this because they mention it in the troubleshooting section of the trigger's manual. It turns out there's a setting in the trigger's menu where you can choose between a broadcast distance of 1 to 100 meters or the near range wireless mode of 0 to 30 meters. 1 to 100 bizarrely is the default, but it'd make more sense if the default were the other one. Change it to 0 to 30 meters and the misfire problem is gone. And a distance of 30 meters is plenty unless you're doing something quite unusual. Like me, the Q4 turned out to be simple and reliable, and it lasted a few sessions before it needed a recharge. Neewer's range of lights seem to be expanding, so you can mix and match small speed lights all the way up to more powerful studio units using a single trigger to control them all. If you use Neewer lights, let us know your experiences with them in the comments below, especially if you've been using them for a while. I think I'm going to work on my left arm strength and take the Q4 out for another shoot. And don't forget to check out my other videos on portrait lighting.